Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Working Trader, where we look at the Euro USD and GBPUSD and come up with trade ideas for the day, if there are any. So let's jump right into Forex Factory. Let's look at the news. Today is Wednesday. We have non-farm employment change, ADP, and then core retail sales, and ISM manufacturing PMI. So that's the high impact news we have for the US dollar and nothing for the pound. So let's look right into the charts. Let's see what we have. So yesterday was turned out to be a very bullish day, as you can see, on the Euro USD, and not so much on the pound. Okay. So obviously we were saying that we're expecting price to continue bearish. So however, that did not happen, but we have prices left relative equal lows, okay, on the daily, okay. And then on the pound, we've had a sweep of this swing point, or this swing low, okay. We had a sweep of it, and price looks to be continuing to the upside. So it could be continuing upside, like, switching, right, if it takes out these highs, or it's just be coming up to mitigate this imbalance or the one above, and then continuing bearish. So we don't know, okay. But all those roadmaps for what price could do. But general narrative is we've been bearish. We broke structure to the downside. After break of structure, we expect some kind of pullback. Now, is this a significant enough pullback? I wouldn't say so at the moment. But price nonetheless did have some kind of pullback, came down, failed to make a lower low, and now looks to be continuing up. So this could be a sign that now price could be willing to push higher, maybe towards these areas on the Euro USD. Okay. For the pound, still the same. The daily trend, or the daily swing trend, is bullish. Daily internal is bearish because we broke structure internally. After internal break of structure, we expect some kind of pullback. Is it a significant pullback? I wouldn't say so. So price continued to make a lower low. Okay, and then the expectation was that possibly it will continue to make it to go lower until it mitigates this extreme demand. Okay, however, that has not happened, but we have swept this area, okay, this swing low, and we are seeing some kind of a reaction. Okay, so let's look at the 4-hour. So looking at the 4-hour on Euro USD, just focusing on current price, on the current range. This is what we have. This is our range. Price came up to the extreme of the range, okay, mitigated the extreme of the range, and then came back down. Now it's made relative equal lows, but it's failed to continue going lower. All right, and instead we've had a very strong bullish push to the upside. Okay, so within this range, okay, within this range, the direction is, or the bias is, bearish, okay, and then the internal of that range is also bearish. Okay, so now price has just made a pullback. Okay, so technically, higher odds would be to go in line with let me see. would be to go in line with both the directional bias on the higher time frames and only look for trades in that direction, so which would be higher probability. Okay, so let's see, just high. This was fractal, so nothing happened until we broke structure right there, and then we came down. Okay, until we came down, we broke structure right here. So this was a sweep, and this is the high. Okay, right. So okay, so this is our high. All right, that is our high. So that's our internal for our. So that's our sub-internal high. Okay. So I'm just gonna do an S, internal strong, because all of this is internal price action, right? Relative to the swing range. So all of that is internal price action. And this relative equal lows, that is our swing, that's our week low. Okay, so I will keep it as it is. Right, so just looking at our fib, premium discount. Okay, so we are now in premium. Okay, we are now in premium, and so in all this range, nothing is clear. Okay, we don't have any clean area really. So everything has been mitigated somehow. So I'm just gonna mark out this area right there at the top. Just gonna mark out the area at the top. Okay. Alright, so this is what we have. Only. Okay. So obviously we've had a very strong push, but we've mitigated. Well, we are going, we've come into premium, okay, within this range, within this internal of the internal range. Okay, we've come up into premium, so now it's a waiting game. Maybe price mitigates, and then we see how it reacts from there. So let's see on my lower time frames. So let me just make that visible. Turn below. Okay, so this is what we have. So from a swing perspective on the 15-minute, okay, boom, this is our range, right? This is our range down, this is our week low, and that's the swing high. Okay, and then internally, this is our high, all right? We broke structure, this is our low. And now we've created relative equal lows, all right? So let's try to find the details. Let's try to find the details. So yes, we have this area. So all of this was liquidated. Okay, has been taken. Prices had a very strong push. So internal, after the break of structure, the internal is doing a pullback. Is having a pullback. Okay. So that pullback. Let me just look at it from that point to this point. Okay. So this is what we have. This is where price is. So what can we expect to see? Okay, so let me just delete some of these. Okay, so we had this previous day high. Okay, a high from a previous day. That's okay, that's an imbalance. That's a zone. That's where price is reacting from at the moment. Okay, so this is where price is at the moment. And then I also see that we do have some kind of trend line at the top. So price could come up and take that out. Okay, so we do have areas of liquidity at the top, so price could just come up and take out all of those areas. Right here we do have another imbalance, so right here nothing has happened, so there is room for price to actually continue going up. Okay, whether it will continue going up, that's another story. But looking at the details right now, with what we have at the moment, so price is continuing to make higher highs and higher lows. Okay, and this is what we have at the moment. Okay, so instead of fighting the trend, okay, this is what's there at the moment. So we could look, it's not very clear at the moment, but if price does come down into this imbalance, okay, or even possibly sweep it, okay, because we have relative equal lows. If price comes down, sweeps this low, then we could look for buys towards midpoint, somewhere around here, or towards the high of Asia, depending on where it will reverse from. And then looking for shorts right now, there's nothing clear. Okay, so if I'm going to look for shorting opportunities, then I'm be waiting for this high to go. Okay, I'm waiting for that structural high to go, as well as after the structural high as well. Okay, so if those structural highs go, so all of these areas are possible liquidity points. Okay, so all these structural highs at the top, all of them are possible liquidity points. So we don't know at which point, if price is going to reverse, we don't know at which one is gonna reverse from. Okay, so I'll just add this. Well, actually, maybe instead of adding that, let me mark out the zone like this. Okay, so of course we do know that there is this high, so just to be safe, let me just cover that high. Okay, and then I'll have that. All right, so this is what I have. Okay, so this is what I have. So expectation is that price we'll continue, sweep these areas, possibly mitigate this area, and then I'll start looking for shorts afterwards, targeting this low or there's relative equal lows. There's also an imbalance right there, so there could be room for price to target all the way to there. Okay, now key thing is you might just want to go for a 3 to 1. Okay, once you get your 3 to 1, then you are home and right. Okay, so that's for the Euro USD. Those are my trade ideas. That's what I'm saying. So let's go for the pound. So let's look at the pound starting on the 4-hour. Boom. Starting on the 4-hour. And this is the current range that we're in. Price did sweep. Boom. And then push down. Broke structure. And then we liquidated these lows. And then now we're having some kind of pullback. Okay, after break of structure, we do expect a pullback. Price has not yet reached equilibrium or any of the premium areas. Okay, so this is what we have, and the same thing where we don't have any clear imbalances on the way down. Okay, we don't have any clear imbalances. So let me just jump straight onto the 15-minute. So on the 15-minute, we do have our swing range, okay, which is all of this. Boom, boom, boom. That's our swing range. But focusing or looking at current price, this is the current range that we're in. And this is our zone. Let me remove that. Okay. And internally, that's our high. This is our internal low. Okay. So, price yesterday, it did sweep this high, and then eventually it had a strong drop, and then came into these areas again, and then now has been pushing up. So in general, if we're expecting the internal trend to remain bearish, then we expect that maybe after a sweep of that high, price will mitigate, and then price could start coming all the way down. Okay, so on this one, my expectation is as follows. I'm simply waiting for a sweep of these areas. Okay, so I'm just gonna mark that. And then that's my 15M. Okay, so and then what do we have? All right, so Asia has already swept these lows and made a higher high. Okay, boom, boom. Right, so I'm expecting a break. Okay, price to push up. All right, once that happens, then I might be looking for short-term sales, maybe targeting mid-range of Asia. If I get a 3 to 1, that'll be good. Okay. Else, if price just starts to melt from here, we do have this fractal area. Okay. Now nothing really has happened, so all of this is internal. Okay, so all of this price action is internal. All of that is internal. So we'll pretty much have to wait for price to at least break this, and then we look for shorts. Okay, at least in that way we are in line with the swing, 15-minute swing, as well as in line with the internal, which is also bearish. Okay, so of course the mechanics of the internal inside, it's pretty much looking like it could switch bullish. Okay, but until this high fails, okay, we are still bearish. Okay, so that's the risk we'll have to take. Okay, so until this high fails, until this high fails, we are still bearish. Okay, so that means we'll have bearish internal, bearish swing. So going bearish is higher probability. So pretty much those are my trade ideas for today. So please, if you are finding value and help with this material, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment letting me know. Otherwise, have a great day, and Working Trader out.